So I'm going to physical therapy for real today. I went the other day just to kind of be assessed. She gave me a bunch of, like a rundown of exercises to do and all. So I didn't do them, but I thought about it. But, when I got done on Monday with them, I was really worn out and was not up for a bunch of exercising. And then yesterday, I work a really long day. On Tuesdays, I work like 10 hours and I'm standing up and I'm walking and I'm moving constantly, and it was very tired. So I didn't think I needed to go exert any more than necessary. So here we go. But another weird thing today was I put the brace on, the T-scope brace, which is a really, I have respect for whoever designed that. Like, I assumed that it was going to be rubbing blisters on me and hurting me and bruising and everything. It's well made, and Lord knows I'm sure they have to fit it to a huge different range size of people. But it adjusts lengthwise at every joint. It every strap is adjustable, and the little foam pad things really protect like your skin and everything. I was just expecting it to be awful, and I have pretty sensitive skin. I actually have psoriatic arthritis, so my skin likes to really get excited sometimes, especially if I've already got a lot of system-wide inflammation going on. So, but I got a lot of respect for it, but it's never going to be perfect, especially with something that one size fits all. I am 5'1" and a half, so this thing is like jacked down, as small as it can get. I almost looked at buying a pediatric sized one, and I just thought, I'm not doing that. I'm not spending more money on something that I'm not going to use for very much longer. Although, last time I wore it for 3 months solid, and I don't think I'm gonna make it that long this time. And I don't think I'm gonna need it that long. But I put it on this morning under my pants because I thought that would help it stay up. The pants were kind of wide-legged, and those foam pad things are supposed to stay better when they're in contact directly with your skin. So I put it on under the pants, did all the things, and every time I bit my knee, it hurt a ton. And I don't know why. It wasn't because it was my first few steps of the morning. Those had already happened. It was after I got dressed, after I put the T-scope on. So when I got to work, I was fooling with it, and I'm like, well, I'm just going to take it off and start over and put it back on. I took it off and bit my knee, and it didn't hurt. And when I say hurt, I should say that it's the skin, like the incision, that's hurting. Like, it's pulling, and it is. It's having to stretch because it hasn't been bent, and so it's got further to move. That scar that's right here, it's having to stretch, and it hasn't been for 6 weeks, and it's been damaged and inflamed and whatnot. So yeah, it makes sense for it to hurt, but it was like a lot. Okay, I take it off and it doesn't hurt. Why is this? I don't know. So I just took it off and didn't wear it today. And I don't feel great about that because I know I'm not supposed to. I could twist it because it's weak, or it does buckle occasionally. It's never been to the point where I couldn't catch myself, thank goodness. That would not be fun in front of everyone. But I'm also really concerned about why it's making my skin hurt. I wonder if it's the weight of the brace, because there's a strap that goes right above your knee, and I bet that strap takes a good bit of the weight, and it's like your scar's like this, and the weight's coming down, and I wonder if it's pressing down and kind of trying to get it to press open, because that actually did become a real problem last time, and I didn't totally realize it until after it had happened, what happened. But the weight of it at the time, and I had to wear the brace last time. I was so weak and in pain, I couldn't have gotten away without it. But it caused the top of that scar, because my knee has been sliced open. I have like a 6 or 7 inch incision all the way up and down, where they did this microfracture procedure. But they have to take your kneecap off apparently for some reason. I don't the weight of that brace was pushing down on it. Well, it was pushing down at the top. So the top of the incision was taking a beating. Well, it got infected. In fact, it got to the point that I had to go back to the doctor, or back to the surgeon, for them to look at it, for them to make sure that I didn't need an IV. So I went and got some antibiotics. They called in antibiotics, and it did clear up, but it wasn't an easy clear up. It stuck around. Now, I know part of that is because I was keeping it wrapped in an ace bandage because they told me to. And, it keeps it moist, and so the skin gets irritated. It keeps it hot. But now it also keeps the swelling down. So, yeah. But I feel like I've done better this time around at taking care of the incision. Last time I was putting Bacitracin ointment on it every time I would wrap it, because I didn't want to put the ace bandage directly on the incision. I would put Band-Aids or gauze or something. Well, it would stick to it. Well, I didn't want it to stick to it, so I was putting Bacitracin ointment on it because I'm like, well, this is not going to hurt it, right? Well, yeah, apparently it's not good. This time, I was Googling around, and somebody's like, hey, you need to put Vaseline on that, like unscented, unscented Vaseline, and that will keep it from sticking, but it won't, irritate, because apparently, I don't even keep Neosporin anymore, but even Bacitracin ointment will irritate. I don't keep Neosporin anymore. I've read some bad stuff about it recently, but mostly I got started with Bacitracin ointment because my ENT, I believe it was, recommended it. I have never been a nosebleed guy, but in the winter, when the heat is on and on and on and on, and the humidity's down, occasionally my nose will bleed, and it hurts often. Way more than it bleeds, it hurts. So they told me to take a Q-tip and put a little Bacitracin ointment on it and roll it around inside your nose, which is also cute. We love that. And you get some junk out of there sometimes, which is a bonus, I would say. But they said never ever do that with Neosporin for some reason. Since then, that was years and years and years ago, somebody told me that. I have been told that you can do that before you get on an airplane, and it will help you not to absorb the germs that you're breathing in, especially when you get up in that dry air. Hotels, it's always dry air. I can't tell you how many times I have checked into a hotel and then 5 minutes later my nose is bleeding randomly, and I have never been a nosebleed guy ever. But that Bacitracin ointment really helps it. But that kind of makes me wonder, when people get so sick, so much sickness in the wintertime, why that is. Well, maybe it's because your mucous membranes are all dried out, and it's just like when the ground is all dried out, as soon as some water hits it, unless it's gotten hard and packed, it's going to go, and slurp up that moisture. So, you get a tiny little droplet of something with a germ in it, and yeah. So, anyway, I have done something really cute. I had on my seatbelt, and I wanted to put my sweater on, so I put my seatbelt on under the sweater, so now I've got to escape, but I'm here, so bye.